This happened just last night, and honestly, I'm still a little shaken up over it. I work evenings as a dispatcher in a medium-sized Midwestern city. I was driving home at 2 a.m. when I stopped for gas. In retrospect, it was stupid to have stopped at all. The gas station was poorly lit and completely empty of any other customers, but I knew the shady areas of town, and this was not usually one of them. As I was pumping gas, I noticed a middle-aged woman sitting on the curb across the parking lot. It was a cold night and had just started raining. The woman was not wearing weather-appropriate clothing, so she was drenched. When the woman saw that I was watching her, she called out to me from across the parking lot. My second of many stupid decisions that night was choosing to engage with her. I was worried for her, so I approached her to see what sort of help I could offer.
Hi, beautiful. I'm just trying to get home, but no one will help me. I'm trying to get to City A, but the cab ride is $60 and I only have $40. Can you help me?
I don't usually give money to panhandlers, but this woman seemed genuine. The weather was terrible, and my job centers around helping people, so I agreed. I told her I didn't have any cash, but if she would come with me inside, I'd take some money out of the ATM and give her a few dollars. But the ATM wasn't working. I apologized and told her there was nothing else I could do for her. She followed me back outside, idly chatting with me as I opened my driver's door to get in. But then she got in as well. I was too shocked to really say anything. I sat staring at her as she buckled herself into the passenger seat. As soon as she got into my car, her demeanor changed entirely. She no longer seemed forlorn as much as she was. She was excited and restless.
Just take me to my aunt's house. She can give me money.
Of course, alarm bells are going off in my head. Although my first instinct is to tell her to get the heck out of my car, my gut tells me that that would be dangerous. She'd already proven to be unpredictable. She seemed to be high, and I didn't know if she had any weapons on her. Forcing her out of my vehicle, I thought, had the potential to elicit a violent reaction. "Where are you asking me to take you?" I finally say.
Just start driving and I'll tell you where to turn.
No. If you want me to consider driving you somewhere, I need you to tell me where we're going, I say, with no real intention of driving her anywhere.
Don't worry, honey. I'm not one of the bad ones. I'm not going to rob you or nothing. Just drive.
No, I repeated. What is your aunt's address?
Okay. It's on Street A.
What's the house number? As I was asking her questions, she got really agitated. We still had not left the gas station parking lot. I considered getting out of the car and going into the gas station for help, but A, she had seemed to know and be friendly with the one attendant that was inside when I tried to get money out, and B, I wasn't about to leave her alone in my car. Finally, she snapped at me and said,
Why are you asking me so many questions? I thought we were friends. You don't trust me?
I work at a police department. It's my job to ask these sort of questions. She flipped the F out. She started yelling at me about being a snitch, about trying to get her in trouble, just in general losing her damn mind. At this point, I'm more scared than ever. I just wanted her gone, but my instincts still told me asking her to get out of my car wouldn't work, so I decided to take a risk. I'm not a police officer. I just work at a police department. Why don't I take you to Walmart and see if they have an ATM that works? My idea was to get her out of my car as peacefully as possible, then lose her in the store. She liked my idea and immediately calmed down. I knew that driving off with this woman in my car was incredibly risky, but it seemed like my best option at the time. As we're driving, she keeps talking to me. Her thoughts were erratic, bouncing all over the place. It sometimes seemed difficult for her to follow through on a thought. But this is roughly how our conversation went.
I'm glad we're friends now. I have about 5 or 6 people trying to get me. I'm going to come to your work tomorrow so we can go arrest them together.
Okay, we can talk about that tomorrow. Tonight you said you're trying to get home?
Yes, honey. I'm trying to get to City B.
City B? I thought you said you needed to go to City A?
Yeah, City A, that's what I meant. That's why the cab ride is $40. It's far away.
The cab ride is $40?
Yeah, baby.
You said you have 40.
I do, baby. I have $40, but the cab ride is 60.
Then it's silent for a while before she says,
Are you sure you can't take me to my aunt's house? She lives close by on Street B.
I thought you said she lived on Street A.
No, baby. I meant Street B. But it don't matter because she won't give me money anyway. You sure you can't just take me to City A?
It was terrifyingly obvious that this woman was utterly full of crap, because the details of her story were constantly changing. When we pulled into the Walmart parking lot, she finally got out of my car, only after I got out first, and followed me into the store. I told her, before we went to find an ATM, I needed to use the restroom. My plan was to call the police from inside a stall, but she followed me into the bathroom, and that's when things got really weird. She grabbed the crook of my arm and whispered into my ear,
If you don't got no money to give me, that's okay. But let me ask you something, sweetie. Do you like getting?
insert sexual activity. I told her no as forcefully as I could manage, then bolted into a stall and locked the door as fast as I could. As soon as I had a barrier between us, I said, You know, I have some friends at the police department that can probably help you better than I can. I'm just going to call them and we can figure this out together. Again, at the mention of the cops, she started screaming at me. I just kept reiterating that the police would help her. She snapped at me and said that she was just going to leave and stormed out of the bathroom. But it wasn't over. I waited to make sure she was really gone. Sure enough, not 60 seconds after she left, she came back into the bathroom and started banging on the stall door. And she said something that scared me more than anything else.
Hey, come back to your car with me. I left my beer in your car.
I blatantly tell her that no, I saw her get into my car and she had absolutely nothing with her other than the clothes on her back. After that, she left the bathroom again and didn't come back. I waited a good 5 minutes before exiting the bathroom. I immediately found a manager who called the police for me. Thankfully, I was in a different police jurisdiction from the one I work in, because I was mortified at how entirely stupid I had been the whole night, and would have died of embarrassment if any of my coworkers had responded. The officer that responded took my statement and advised me to be more careful in the future. He said that sometimes panhandlers turn violent, and that just recently there had been a report of a woman who matched my description assaulting a Good Samaritan that had stopped to try to help her. I definitely learned a lesson on stranger danger, and I'm lucky to have come out unscathed. I'm glad my stupidity didn't kill me. So guys, the next time you try to help a stranger late at night, don't. When I was younger, every year for Christmas I would drive upstate to my aunt's house along a stretch of highway. I cannot for the life of me remember the name of this road. All I know is it runs nearby Akron, New York, at some point. However, most of the drive is through rural areas with little to no towns nearby. So it was the dead of night, and my groggy self had gotten off a long shift and had to drag my ass to my aunt's house since my extended family was expecting me the following morning. Near halfway through the drive, I realized I was low on gas, which irritated me. My brother told me he had filled it up the day before, so he either forgot or was straight up lying. I saw an archaic-looking sign for a gas station off the next road. It wasn't an official road sign, literally a pole with a slab of metal attached with "gas off next exit," or something along those lines painted on. That seemed a little sketchy, but people do the same thing with fruit stands on highways, so whatever. I pulled off the next exit on some dilapidated country road through dense woods. The whole thing was creepy and surreal. I kept expecting Leatherface to come running out of the trees with a chainsaw. Anyways, eventually I came to the gas station and realized quickly it hadn't been open for years. It was all rusted, and the convenience store's roof was caving in. The gas pumps had all been taken out as well. I pulled over next to it and checked my gauge. I would probably only make it another half mile before running out, so I called AAA, and they said they'd send a truck over. Now I played the waiting game. I left my engine on because when the headlights were off, everything was pitch black, and my paranoid self wasn't sitting next to an abandoned gas station in the middle of a forest in complete darkness. So most of the wait went uneventful until I sensed movement around the side of the old store where my lights are pointed. I look up but didn't see anything more. So I look back down at my phone. Then over the sounds of the night, I hear someone yell,
"Hey, buddy, come here."
I look up, and I kid you not, there's a dude standing by the old store, looking towards me, illuminated by my headlights. He looked like a run-of-the-mill homeless guy. I was honestly spooked, and figured he must have been squatting there. Still watching him, I rolled down my window and yelled something like, "Yeah, what's up?" still mentally crapping myself. I had my foot ready to floor it out of there at the first sign of trouble.
You got any change?
Nah, I don't, sorry, man. I look up at him. He has this kind of vacant expression and is standing stiff. Then I see more movement. There are heads, about 20 or so heads peeking around trees beyond the man I'm talking to. I can't see them clearly at all, but they are definitely people. Literally just heads, staring in my direction from around the trees. I see another guy beginning to walk from around the gas station, and then I turned around and sped off. I got as far away from that place as my tank could carry me, and updated AAA on my location. The driver soon arrived and filled my tank up. I didn't say anything about what just happened. But after he left, I wanted to call the cops, so I called the nearest town's sheriff department. They said they'd send a trooper over, and I gave them the location. When I got to my aunt's house, they called me back and said whoever was there was gone, but they could tell a large number of people had been living there for a while. Blankets, canned food, the usual. The whole situation still freaks me out. But frankly, I can consider myself lucky I'll always have such a creepy story to tell. I'm just glad nothing bad happened. This happened about a week ago. I went on a road trip to take a friend of mine home to Colorado. He wanted to fly back, but I really wanted to go on a road trip. I live in Ohio, so we had to go through Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, and Kansas. A 22-hour road trip to get there, not including the rest stops. I'd never traveled this far before in a car. I've flown to Florida once or twice, and I didn't see myself getting an opportunity like this in the future. Anyways, I drive most of the way because, well, I love to drive, and no one seemed too concerned with it. The person I was taking home, Travis, said if we needed to switch, it wouldn't be a big deal. At this point, I've been behind the wheel for nearly 12 hours, and maybe it was because I was tired, even though I didn't feel tired. But the creepiest thing happened. I needed gas, and there was a gas station nearby, so I pulled in. It was dark aside from the lights from the pump and a street light at the station. I was creeped out, but I also wasn't concerned because I hadn't had any problems beforehand. Now, this gas station was different than what I'm used to. To get gas, you do the usual. Select the type of gas you want, but as soon as you pull the nozzle from the pump and into your car, you then had to pull a lever up, and then start to pump the gas. It took me a while of fidgeting in order to realize this. I'd seen it in a movie. But right as I realized this, I hear a voice call out from beside the closed building of the gas station. I don't remember exactly what it said, but if I had to guess, it was a "hey," or "over here." Definitely male. But when I set the pump to where I don't have to hold the trigger, I looked up and saw nothing there. Again though, I was tired, so I didn't pay any attention to it. About halfway through, I hear it again, the male voice calling out to me. Maybe he thought I was alone because my roommate was sleeping in the back and Travis was laid in the front with the seat down. Stupid me didn't feel like stopping again, so I ignored it and kept pumping while looking at my phone. Then the man started whistling at me, like I was a dog. And the absolute worst feeling comes over me. Something I have genuinely never felt before, but it was a mix of fear and, oh crap. I literally felt my stomach drop. I looked up, and sure enough, there was a man, dressed in a brown coat, with the hood up, and red shorts. I don't even know how I remembered that, but after I looked up, he let out a yell.
Hey, look at me when I'm talking to you.
It was so loud that my roommate lying in the back seat shot up, rolled her window down and said, "You good?" At this point, the man was speed walking over towards me, but it was like, as soon as she made herself known, he turned himself around and booked it to the back of the building. I heard a car start and gravel fly as he got out of there. I didn't look at his car or van or whatever he drove because I was admittedly stuck in my place. And I think my roommate knew it too. I know a lot of people try to plan for this type of stuff, especially women like myself. They have a fully thought out idea as to how to handle it, what they're gonna say, where they're gonna run, maybe even who to call. Even I did. But when it actually happens, we're clueless, stuck in fear. And I was stuck. I'm glad my roommate let her presence known when she did. I'm glad I wasn't alone. After I filled up the car, She took over for me. I don't know what that man wanted, or why he was yelling at me, or even walking towards me, but I don't ever want to experience something like that ever again.
Don't skip this.